Here's 20 tips to get better at Blocks.io. First, I'm gonna give you 5 building tips, then 5 parkour tips, then 5 PvP tips, and then 5 bridging tips. For the first tip, you need a lot of texture. Let me just show you what I mean with that. So, I'ma just build a wall. This wall definitely looks very ugly because it's just one type of block. So now I'm gonna show you what it looks like with texture. And look, now we got a way better wall, which actually looks pretty good. Okay, for the second building tip, just use less straight lines, because nothing in real life actually only uses straight lines. Look, this tree is really bad because the trunk is just perfectly straight and the branches are perfectly straight. So let's see how this would look with a bit more curvy lines. Look, this tree is already way better because it just doesn't use only straight lines. For my third tip, I'm actually here at my base on my SMP to show how important it is to pay attention to detail. There's these spikes which kinda add just a little bit more scenery. These trees which kinda look pretty cool with the slabs as branches. A lot of slabs on the outside actually. For the interior, I actually got like patterns on the top and bottom. The unique blocks used in unique ways. This is what actually like ties up the build. For the next tip, we're here in my main SMP shop, which looks really cool. It's basically because I'm kind of creative with using blocks. Like there's a lot of different blocks here. It's just not only diorite and smooth diorite. I also added chalk. Also here we don't just have messy stone to compressed messy stone. No, we have messy stone to andesite to kind of give it a bit more contrast. I also used obsidian and gold for the pillars, which looks really cool from a bigger distance. And then there's kind of the biggest rule of building, which is don't use any of these rules and don't use too much of this. Next, I'm gonna give you 5 tips about parkour. So, first, it's important that you have a pretty high mouse sensitivity so you can actually make jumps easier. Like stuff like Neos, it's really important to have a high mouse sensitivity because with low mouse sensitivity, it's basically impossible to make some Neos. So you just need to be really coordinated with your mouse and it kind of needs to have a pretty high sensitivity. The next tip is using bunny hops and knowing how to use them. For some beginners, bunny hops might seem pretty scary because like, when do you get a bunny hop exactly? Well, it's pretty simple. When you jump exactly at the moment when you land, you will get a bunny hop. So if you get more consistent at bunny hopping, you will be able to jump one block further when you need to, which can be pretty overpowered for some skips and stuff. So yeah, just learn how to bunny hop, it's really useful. My third tip is crouching at edges of jumps, because if you want to make this head hitter the first try, it might be pretty hard to just time it right, so I'd say just crouch at the edge and make the jump. Head hitters are always easier if you crouch at an edge, and if you're approaching a pretty scary jump, it's really important to just crouch. Also, if you crouch while you're on a ladder, you will stay where you are, so let me just get to the nearest ladder. Okay, so here's a ladder. If I crouch on the ladder, you will see that I will stay in place, and if I release, I will go down. So that's pretty OP. And if you crouch on top of a ladder, you will be able to do stuff like this, which is kinda OP because you can just jump like 3 blocks high, which is really cool. And the longer you crouch on a ladder like that, the higher you basically go. Okay, it's really important also to just practice a lot. Why am I doing this in third person? I have no idea. For the fourth tip, you just need to practice a lot. The more you practice, the better you will get at parkour. Also, just be goofy. A lot of the pro players of block style parkour are very goofy. I'm talking about Allison, the maker of this legendary parkour world, and of course Firecat, one of the best parkourers. I guess Zepto, Hospitals, all those guys, good parkour players, all super goofy. Shout out to them. So I'd say that's basically everything about parkour you need to know. So now let's go to PvP. Whee! So firstly, it's important you need to know the 3 types of hits. Because there are actually 3 types. There's the normal hit, which looks like this. You see, it does not do a lot of damage. And it's basically useless. So the second type of hit is a critical hit, also called a crit, which is you jump and hit while you're going down, okay? So you will see orange particles from the enemy when you do a critical hit, you see? And it does way more damage, and it's way more overpowered. So the last type of hit is the knockback hit, which kind of has light blue particles, and it just deals more knockback to the enemy, which is pretty good. Why is this player so laggy, bro? Okay, there we go. So next, it's important to have good movement. So if you just like walk forward, let me just walk forward. I'm just holding W. You see, this is not doing well. Wait, I should normal bot. Okay, so if you just hold W and sprint, just sprint forward, this happens. This can be a PvP method, but it's not that good. And the only way I'm winning here is if I just click really fast. If I just sprint jump all the time, it can be even harder to aim, but you can get critical hits, which makes it easier to win. Then we got strafing left and right, which is kind of like this. You kind of like walk in circles around the enemy, which makes it harder for the enemy to hit you and easier for you to hit the enemy. Okay, so I'm just gonna walk in circles around the enemy, which makes it harder for the enemy to hit me and makes it kind of easier for me to hit the enemy. And there we go. I want to get better at PvP for today, so let me just go into the settings, and then you're gonna go to controls. So you're gonna search for primary and secondary action, which is not very low. And you'll just go here, and you're gonna add right click to the primary action. This makes it so you hit with left click and you also hit with right click. So you can like butterfly click with both fingers, which makes it really easy to click faster. So let me just show how that goes. By the way, I haven't PvP'd in a pretty long time, so my PvP is really bad right now. You just need to react quickly to what the other player is doing. Okay, so with that faster clicking method, you will be able to win easier. And now we got the last tip, which is reacting quickly, which is really important. Look, if I move my mouse slowly and just try to track them, while also using all the other methods with movement and critical hits. Look, this is not really fast, you know? I'm not winning that confidently. But if I go like this, I actually just lock in on my opponent and always try to have my mouse on the opponent. You see, I win way faster. So lastly, we got bridging. So if you want to use the most popular bridging method, which is ninja bridging like this, basically the 45 degree strafe that people do in Minecraft is not really useful in blocks. So yeah, you can just use this. So you just gotta get the right rhythm. And then if you hold sprint while doing that, you can be pretty fast. But I'm pretty bad at ninja bridging actually. There we go. That was alright, I guess. So it's also important to choose when you're sprinting and when you're not sprinting. So look, if I'm not sprinting, it's pretty easy to place blocks like this. But if you're sprinting, it's way harder to actually get right. But also, of course, faster. Oh yeah, it's also important that if you feel like you're gonna fail soon, like, oh no, I think I'm getting out of the rhythm and I'm gonna fail soon. So then, you're just gonna switch methods. And if you're gonna fail again, you may just choose for the slowest method. I don't know. Okay, the bridging tips were pretty bad. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Okay. But